like to pay respect to the elders of the Noongar Nation, past and present, who have walked and cared for the land. We acknowledge and respect their continuing culture and the contributions made to this region. I declare the meeting open at 7 p.m. And please note, as per Council Resolution 1304/23, this meeting is being live streamed. Item 2, record of attendance. Apologies, approval of absence. In attendance we have all of Council and we have all the staff. So welcome everyone. Members of the general public, we have 7, 1, 2. And media 0. There are nil apologies and there are nil approved leave of absence. We move to announcements. Councillors, you're asked to advise your attendance in your role as elected members, for which we have on the screen. Are there any edits to the list of attendances? There's no list of attendance, so I'll move on. Item 3, disclosures of interest. Councillors, are there any disclosures of potential conflicts of interest before any matter in front of Council this evening? There are no disclosures of interest. Item 4, public question time. Response to previous public questions taken on notice, there are nil. Public question time, we have 3 questions and I will go through those. First question relates to PQ010925, Lisa Malin, Lower Chittering. Question 1. When will all non-agricultural equipment be removed? The response. Condition number 3 states, the approved uses shall contain agriculture equipment in accordance with the applicant's letter of justification dated 5th of April 2017. The letter of justification dated 5th of April 2017 provides examples of typical vehicles and equipment used, being vehicles that may be associated with agricultural activities but not limited to. As the condition refers to approved uses, it is construed that the storing of agricultural equipment / vehicles can occur on the site, in addition to the permitted storage of other commercial vehicles and items under the broader transport depot and warehouse storage development approval granted, which allows storage and parking of a range of commercial vehicles and items. If the intention of the officers writing the report was to restrict the type of vehicles being stored on site to only those associated with agricultural activities, the condition would have referred to limiting or restricting the vehicles parked on site to only be those associated with agricultural activities. Furthermore, the officer's report presented to Council acknowledges that the majority of the original proponent's vehicles to be stored on site were in fact related to the construction industry, which the proponent demonstrating that these vehicles are able to be used for agricultural purposes. It is understood that this claim was made to justify the proposal. I'll start that again. It is understood that this claim was made to justify the proposal could be consistent with the agricultural resource zoning of the land. The minutes of the 19th April 2017 meeting, whereby this development approval was granted, are available for public viewing on the Shire's website. As such, it is contended that there is not a requirement for non-agricultural vehicles to be removed from the site. Question 2. Why do residents have to keep on complaining via chatter about the enforcement of the conditions? The response. Chatter is the Shire's formal avenue to receive all correspondence. In accordance with the Shire's policy, general compliance and enforcement, complaints are to be made in writing. Short answer. Question 3 is confirm if Council or CEO will enforce all conditions. And the response is the Shire's administration is currently undertaking compliance action over the subject property in accordance with the Shire's policy, general compliance and enforcement, which includes the compliance with the conditions of the development approval. Should a person be dissatisfied with the local government's action enforcing conditions of a development approval, that person can lodge a complaint with the Minister for Planning or Ombudsman. These questions relate to Lot 191, 1 Dina Road. So, to give you some context. Public question time. Is there any public questions? Okay. No public questions. Read that then. Item 5, presentations, deputations and petitions. There are nil presentations. We have 2 deputations. The first deputation is DEP 010925. Mr Bailey Hall from Ms Shea, speaking to the officer's recommendation for DS 020925, reconsideration of application for development approval, building envelope relocation. Welcome, Bailey.
Can I please have the picture up that sent in, thanks. Perfect, thank you. Good evening, councillors, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm Bailey Hall, the owner of 99 Polinelli Road, Lower Chittering. I'm here to respectfully ask you that you reject the Shire Officer's recommendation and instead approve my development application subject to the conditions outlined in the Chittering Land Care Report. This approach would acknowledge past mistakes while ensuring meaningful environmental restoration moving forward. This is the plan that Landcare and myself have come up with. It contains just under 9,000 square metres of re-veg. It'll be done over 3 years. Each year, 2,000 plants will be planted. All the plants will be ordered through Landcare to ensure the correct plants are planted for the area. As you can see, the greener colour is obviously where the re-veg will be. The blue is my envelope that I'm applying for. The envelope still contains a 20-metre asset zone the whole way around it, so there's no worry about bushfires. We got a bell of 19, which is pretty normal for Lower Chittering, so there's no issues raised there. Over the past 3 months, my partner and I have worked hard to meet every requirement placed upon us by the Shire. This included engaging directly with Chittering Landcare Group, the Shire's own environmental advisory group. We developed a detailed revegetation plan involving more than 6,000 new plants over 3 years. The report clearly supports the development provided the revegetation plan is implemented. It is troubling that this recommendation has not been reflected in the officer's position. What has been most difficult throughout the process is the lack of consistency and transparency. We have received contradictory advice at different stages of positions that once appeared settled have later been reversed. For example, during a site meeting in March with DEWA and Shire officers, it was confirmed that DEWA would only act if council refused the application. This understanding was even noted in the officer's own report, yet the Shire officer's stance has now shifted without explanation. I find it very concerning that Shire officers appear to be pushing punitive measures as opposed to assessing the merits of this proposal, when no other application of this size has had this much influence from Shire officers. We have had independent planning advice that verifies that subject to meeting the conditions for the revegetation that we have offered, this application is both capable and appropriate for approval. DEWA has also recognised that no action will be commenced pending the outcome of the SAP process. If approved tonight, DEWA would likely take it as development approval, as stated by Shire officers in the report. Should council determine to approve the application, it is likely that DEWA would not take any compliance action. If council approves the application, we can proactively continue to complete the revegetation process. This will also ensure that the preservation of an identified habitat tree with hollows that is located in the current Shire nominated envelope. That tree will be protected under the revised building envelope location that we are proposing. I also have concerns about the fairness of the recommending officers and the lack of consistency and transparency, that despite the mediation sessions and the work that has been undertaken, the officer's position is not that they will not support my application under any circumstances. That is not a fair or impartial approach. Our planning advice is that the officer's position is not a proper planning approach to dealing with the application. This is because it has failed to assess the application on its own merits based upon the circumstances of this case, as opposed to relying on the suggested precedent that might occur. In good faith, I've already invested more than $16,000 in consultants, legal advice and replanting, with a proposed further $18,000 committed to the revegetation works as per the Chittering Land Care Plan. We have already commenced replanting at the start of winter and have already installed 3 artificial Carnaby nests. I made this commitment because I believe that by following every step requested of me, I could achieve a positive outcome. To now be told that no matter what I do, support will not be forthcoming is deeply disheartening and not a proper planning approach. Approval of Chittering Landcare's revegetation plan tonight would enable us to finalise the SAP process without a need to go to a hearing. I want to be clear. I acknowledge that mistakes were made in the past, but I have acted at every stage to put things right and to work constructively with the Shire. My application offers a fair resolution that delivers significant environmental restoration. It aligns with the advice of the Shire's own environmental advisor and applies consistency in decision making. Councillors, I respectfully ask you to approve my development application subject to the conditions set out in the Chittering Landcare report. This represents a fair, balanced and environmentally responsible outcome for both myself and the community. Thank you for your time and consideration. Did anyone have any questions that they want me to clear up about DERA or the SAP process or the revegetation?
Good. No, thank you,
Cool.
Bailey.
Thank you.
Okay, the next deputation is DEP 020925, Bailey Rankin Shay, speaking to the officer's recommendation. DS 020925, reconsideration of application for development approval, building envelope relocation.
Thank you. My name is Keely Rankin and I have been a Bailey Halls partner for the past 9 years. Our dream for 99 Polinelli Road is to make our forever home and the place where we can settle down and raise our family. I understand that Bailey has made some mistakes along the way, but I feel like he has been treated more like a criminal than someone who just went about things the wrong way. Yes, he should have consulted with the Shire earlier, but he's certainly not the first person in the Shire to make these mistakes. We've been working with Chittering Landcare to try and make things right and fix what happened with the clearing. That's why it was so disappointing for both Bailey and Landcare to be told that the Shire's officers would not recommend approval, especially after the amount of time and effort that has already gone into this plan. I believe those resources could have been spent on moving forward towards a fair outcome rather than dragging this out any further. This process has taken a huge toll on both of us, not just financially, but mentally and emotionally as well. It's been incredibly difficult to keep moving forward with so much uncertainty hanging over our future. I'm 27 years old, and at the start of this year we had planned to begin our family. Unfortunately, that has been put on hold because we are still renting at Bailey's parents' place while this all still hangs over us. All we are asking for is a resolution that's fair for everyone, for us and for the Shire. We just want to be able to move forward with our lives, build our home in Lower Chittering and finally start our family. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Keely. Next item is petitions. There are nil. Item 6, application for leave of absence. Councillors, are there any applications for leave?
Yes, please.
Oh, Councillor Campbell.
Again,
Okay.
6th to the 9th of October, just the agenda forum. And then the following week I'll be remote dialing. I don't think we need to have that approved, do I? I'll be in Brisbane.
Can't dial in for the OCM. Not dialing in for the OCMs, are we?
Teams?
Nope. We have we?
We'd have to take that on
We'll have to
No.
take that one on notice, but maybe just do that one first and we'll...
Sure.
I'm not sure that we have.
Would you like a seconder?
Oh, please.
Thank you. Councillor Campbell is a mover. Councillor Angus is a seconder. Councillor Campbell, you've brought... Oh,
No, we'll go. Thanks.
Angus?
Nothing to say, thank you.
Is anyone speaking against the motion? If you write reply is not required. Councillors, no one speaking against the motion. I'll declare carried with that to 7-0. Yeah, we'll take the video conference for the OCM on notice. Any other applications for leave? We move on to item 7, confirmation of minutes. Confirmation of minutes of ordinary council meeting of the Wednesday the 20th of August 2025 as published on the Shire website. Can I have a mover for the officer's recommendation, please? Councillor Ross. Seconder, please. Oh, Councillor Dewar. Councillor Ross.
Not really much to say. They're prepared to the normal high standard, so very happy to support our adoption of them.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. Councillor Dewar.
No, all good from my end.
Councillors, anyone speaking against the officer's recommendation? Councillor Ross, you have right of reply required. Right of reply is not taken up. So, councillors, if no one is speaking against the officer's recommendation, I'll declare carried without dissent 7-0. Item 8, announcements. We have a few announcements. It's interesting, I don't have all those texts on my page. Anyway, I'll read the first bit. First one is food truck night. So don't feel like cooking, come along and enjoy a relaxed evening at the Shire's food truck night on Friday the 19th September at 29 Binder Place. Been doing from 6 to 8. Council plan. So thank you to all our wonderful community members who participated in our recent pop-ups and workshops. Your feedback and completed surveys will directly inform the Shire Council's plan. Every contribution is valued and we sincerely appreciate the time and thought that you have given. Local government elections, so postal vote mail-outs have begun on Friday the 12th of September, so I've already got them. Please note that all postal votes must be received by the returning officer by 6 p.m. on Sunday the 18th of October. This election will have 5 candidates contesting 3 available positions. Good luck to all candidates. Now, we have to receive them here, don't we? Do we have a box here for receiving?
There's a box here, but it's mailed.
It's mailed. Okay. Caretaker period. The Shire is currently in caretaker period until after the election and the swearing in of new councillors. During this time, council continues with day-to-day business but will not make major new decisions until the new council is in place. Item 9, reports. Development services. First item is CS 010925, request for waiving of rates of lot 800 on DP 428085, Cube property on behalf of Burnville Proprietary Limited. Councillors, you have an officer's recommendation to waive those fees and charges. Can I have a mover for the officer's recommendation? Councillor Campbell. Seconder, Councillor Ross. Councillor Campbell.
Thank you. This is land ceded to the Shire, or soon to be ceded to the Shire, so no use us paying our own rates, just so the intention is just to waiver them and take full advantage of that land down in Lower Chittering. So support the recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Campbell. Councillor Ross.
Just to point out that this land is very important for the Shire to have the control of, the access to, so it's a very reasonable request on the part of the landowner that the rates not be charged on the property.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. Councillors, anyone speaking against the officer's recommendation? Anyone wish to speak for? Councillor Campbell, you have right of reply.
Thanks.
Councillors, if no one is speaking against the officer's recommendation, I'll declare carried without dissent 7-0. Next item is CS 020925, reconsideration of application for development approval, building envelope relocation. Councillors, we have an alternative motion moved, that I'll read out first, and then we get back to the processes. We deal with the substantive motion first. If the substantive motion fails, we then move to the alternative motion. Councillor Campbell, do you want me to read the alternative motion?
Go for it.
Okay, the alternative motion reads that council grants development approval for the building envelope relocation on lot 201 Pine Alley Road, Lower Chittering, subject to the following conditions. A, that all developments shall be constructed within the approved building envelope unless otherwise approved by the Shire. B, that the proposed revegetation plan for lot 201 Pine Alley Road shall be fully implemented with completion of the plan's implementation within 3 years from the date of approval. And 3, instructs the Chief Executive Officer to contact the Department of Water and Environmental Regulation and advise Council's resolution above. There is an advice note. Okay, that's probably deal with that. So that is the alternative motion. Councillors, you have an officer's recommendation, which is what we'll deal with first. Can I have a mover for the officer's recommendation, please? Councillor Angus. Seconder, please. Councillor Ross. Councillor Angus.
Thank you. Decisions such as this have significant emotional pull on all of us, as none of us wish to inflict hardship on our community members. However, we need to remove emotion from this case. While each case is able to be considered on its merit, our guidelines or policies are developed with much thought and discussion aimed at best outcomes. We have a responsibility to the community and to the future of our Shire. It will be irresponsible of us to simply disregard policy in a case that has had such impact on the land and its predetermined best placement of building envelope. This building envelope had been chosen with the aim of maintaining as much beauty and natural habitat as possible, while still allowing development of a rural home. Yes, there have been cases in the past where we have strayed from policy, sometimes regrettably with poor outcome. But in this case, once you remove the emotional impact the applicant has had on us, the case is clear-cut. If we simply overlook the issues and ignore the direction from DWER in their vegetation conservation notice, we might as well throw all policies out the window, as the message will have been sent that there is no need for compliance nor penalty in regards to following policy or regulations. If we were to approve relocation of the building envelope, DWER's direction would preclude the building of a house there. We would be in opposition to DWER. SAT is awaiting our decision, so also hearing Bailey's comment about he's tried everything to put things right, and I acknowledge that you have bent over backwards. The only thing you haven't tried is reverting to building in the original building envelope. So I will be supporting the officer's recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Angus. Councillor Ross.
Thanks, Mr. President. I agree with Councillor Angus in that in this matter there are no winners. The environment of that property certainly didn't win because 40% of it was cleared. The densest section of the property had its vegetation removed. And I appreciate the hardship that the applicants are experiencing in endeavouring to find what prospects they do have for developing their home on the property. In both the first time this came to us and now, it's not, to me, it isn't convincing that all of the revegetation will proceed in the way that Landcare has recommended. And we certainly should note that what Landcare have prepared for the applicant is based on leaving their proposed building envelope clear for the home to go on to. To my thinking, we haven't seen what Landcare would recommend for the property left alone, which is probably to leave the building envelope where it is and proceed and revegetate what has been cleared. I find in the paperwork that we received from the applicant for this matter this evening, one of the factors mentioned was that their proposed building envelope provides better privacy to the applicant. To me, that's not a significant consideration. when I read that kind of thing, I find, and just even the whole issue of relocating the building envelope, the clearing of the land, I find myself unable to understand why this parcel of land was ever purchased. It never seems to have met the requirements of those who now own it, and there would presumably have been other land available. It's kind of, to me, too late to say, oh, we've bought it, it's not what we want, so let's do what we can to fix that by breaching the local planning scheme requirements. So, in contrast, I appreciate the applicants going to Landcare and getting what is a remarkably thorough revegetation plan prepared. As I said before, I think the difficulty is that it's happening on the wrong part of the property. But it would be good to have it followed in a more general sense. The DWER factor to me certainly is important, but in my view, it's my decision is based on the fact that what has happened here is a significant breach of our local planning scheme. The revegetation doesn't really fix it the way it is proposed to happen. So I don't propose relocating the building. I don't support relocating the building envelope. DWER's decisions are their own. They are governed by separate legislation to what we are applying in our decision here. So I support the officer recommendation. I think the decision we made a few months ago should stand, that we do not support the relocation of the building envelope. Thanks, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. Anyone speaking against the officer's recommendation?
I am.
Would you like to move your alternative motion first?
So can I move my alternative motion, please?
Can I have a seconder for the... So mover of the alternative motion is Councillor Campbell, the seconder is Councillor Hughes. Thank you. You may talk to the standing motion.
Thank you. So I don't support the officer's recommendation. If the Shire is genuinely committed to protecting trees and vegetation, then these expectations must apply equally to all, including council-led developments. Take the recently completed Michelle Rec Centre. Despite practical alternatives such as relocating the courts a few metres away to preserve mature marri trees, the officer recommended and the council approved the removal of the marri trees. While the Shire had the necessary paperwork and approval, this decision sets a clear precedent that vegetation can be sacrificed for development. Further reinforcing this precedent, is the February 2024 approval of Lot 101 Tea Tree Road. Site inspection photos in the officer's report clearly show significant clearing of fire breaks beyond what was approved. Although the Shire Technical Services Department permitted clearing within the verge, extensive clearing occurred within the applicant's lot, well beyond the minimum fire break requirements outlined in the Shire fire break notice in 2023-2024. Despite the report referring to this as the clearing of pristine vegetation, no penalties were imposed, nor was there any recommendation to seek advice on punitive action against the applicant. In the light of these examples, it is important to acknowledge that Mr. Hall has already faced significant consequences for the removal of vegetation on his property. If we are consistent and fair, we must recognise that the precedent for the vegetation removal without penalty has been set by our own decisions. It should be noted that when the first request to approve the relocation was denied by Council and seek punitive measures in March, Mr. Hall apologised twice, both at the Agenda Forum and the Ordinary Council meeting. Further to Mr. Hall's apology, he offered a revegetative plan by planting out his block before Landcare was engaged. Mr. Hall acknowledged on multiple occasions he had made mistakes and prepared to rectify and replant the vegetation, using Landcare to implement the revegetation plan. I'm satisfied Mr. Hall is attempting to rectify and fix past damage. He has been penalised with the cost associated with defending his case at SAT and will continue to pay financially when revegetation commences over the next 3 years. Obviously, I'm proposing the foreshadow of the alternative motion. So, don't support the officer's recommendation as is. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Campbell. Anyone speaking for? Sorry? Oh, sorry. No. Oh. No, Councillor, we're not looking at, no.
He moved it, Councillor Hughes seconded, so she should
But that's
speak
the
to-
alternative.
Yes.
But we're not dealing with the alternative, we're dealing with the substantive motion.
You're now dealing with the alternative motion.
No, we're
It's
not.
not a foreshadowed motion. You're dealing with this until it's concluded
No.
and we're moving back if
No.
it fails.
We've just got to clarify process here. Our process says we have to deal with the substantive motion first, then we deal with the alternative motion. That's the process. That is the process. That's what we did every other time. So that's my understanding, that's my ruling, that's the process. If the substantive motion fails, then we move to the alternative motion. The only difference between alternative motion or foreshadowed motion, you've given advance notice of the alternative motion within the timeframes. The foreshadowed one can be raised at any time during the meeting. Councillor Campbell had the option to raise it as an alternative motion or the option to raise it as a foreshadowed motion. If it wasn't raised as an alternative motion, I wouldn't have read it out in the beginning. So, to process this, you deal with the officer's substantive motion. Then if that fails, we move to the alternative motion. So, the mover of the substantive motion was Councillor Angus, the mover. Councillor Ross was the seconder. Councillor Campbell has spoken. You want to talk now, Councillor Hughes?
Yes, I wish to speak against the officer recommendation in favour of the alternative motion, as was my position when this first came to us. I think that we need to apply a bit of common sense here, because we don't have a time machine. We can't go back in time and have that bush restored to as it was. It's going to take a significant period of time. There is a recommendation and a replanting program here that it has to be replaced and replanted. That can be anywhere on that block. It isn't linked to having to be where it was removed from directly for it to still be replanting that vegetation. So I think that in the current location of the building envelope, there are 6 mature marri trees, of which one has been identified as Carnaby cockatoo habitat with hollows in it. That takes 60, 70 years to replace that tree. And the only alternative now, if we do not approve moving this building envelope, is that tree will sadly have to be taken down. So where's the sense in that? If our goal here is a good environmental outcome, the clearing, which was a mistake, and admittedly so, I don't think you'll make that mistake again, ever. It can be replaced in other locations without sacrificing the 6 mature trees, which seemingly is absurd to lop those trees down when we have the option to not do that. So I'm certainly in favour of the alternative motion, which will mean that those trees do not need to get cut down and all of what has been cleared will be replaced. Makes sense.
Councillor Hughes? Okay. Councillor Dewar, Councillor... Okay, Curtis?
Look, I don't know what's going on here, but the whole thing is Mr Hall, he conducted an illegal activity. Simple. And against our local planning scheme, so you can't make any excuse. And why we have these planning schemes is 70% of our natural vegetation in the Shire's gone. We've got 30% left. If we let people go and do what they want to do, we're going to have nothing left in this place. And another thing, all these, the residents in the last forums we've had, the #1 priority for the residents of the Shire is the environment. So we got to listen to our residents, not for someone who wants to go down, do what he wants to do. That's all I've got to say.
Councillor Curtis, thank you. Councillor Dewar, anything to say? I'll speak to it now. My view is that this matter is best dealt with SAT. They will provide a balanced view, take away any emotion that's involved and apply the planning law evenly and consistently that relates. Now, we don't know what that outcome will be. We don't. It may well be exactly what the proponent has suggested. But I feel that, in my view, the State Administrative Tribunal is best placed to make the decision. So my supporting of this recommendation is purely on the basis that I believe that's where the decision should be rested. But I do understand the proponent, and I thank you for your deputations, and I do understand the challenge and difficulty that this matter has caused. So, and I do appreciate acknowledging the wrongdoing, but let's let SAT make the right decision, in my view. Anyone else? Councillor Dewar, nothing? Councillor Angus, you have the right of reply.
Thank you. Just to respond to a couple of comments by Councillor Campbell and Councillor Hughes, as I said, we are able to look at each case on its merit. So we try and follow policy where we can. There are occasions where there's good reason to not follow it. And considering the trees at Mouchet, yes, we felt we had a good reason to remove those trees, and it was just a few trees, 3 trees, 4 trees, 3 trees, which is significantly different to the expanse that we're talking about here. And in regards to the remaining trees on Polinelli Road that are actually in the current building envelope, as was discussed with our planning people earlier this evening, that those trees may not need to go. They would be considered in a building development, and there's every chance that they would remain. So to say that all 6 trees would have to be chopped down to build a house in the building envelope is incorrect. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Angus. Right, councillors, I shall... Sorry? Thank you, councillors. I'll put the officer's recommendation to the vote. All those in favour? That's 4. Against? The officer's recommendation is carried 4-3.
Just before we go, Melinda told me before this that this would all be good while we're with Landcare. Look what's happened. See you in court, Melinda.
Bloody hell.
Okay. Next item is technical services. There are nil. Corporate services, CS01 0925, list of accounts paid for the period ending 31st of August 2025. Can I have a mover to that officer recommendation, please? Councillor Angus is the mover. Seconder? Oh, Councillor Ross, you were quite a close second.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Yep. Councillor Angus.
Thank you. I didn't see anything out of the ordinary. I'm happy to receive that. Thank you.
Councillor Ross.
Not really anything to say. All the accounts are looking fine. Thank you.
Okay, sorry, I'm thrown a bit. Anyone speaking against the officer's recommendation? Anyone else want to speak for?
Yeah.
Councillor Angus, you have right of reply.
Nothing to say. Thank you.
Councillors, if no one speaking against the officer's recommendation, I'll declare carried without dissent 7-0. Next item is CS020925, monthly financial report for the period ending 31st of August 2025. Can I have a move to the officer's recommendation? Councillor Campbell. Seconder? Councillor Curtis. Councillor Campbell.
Nothing really to add, just to receive the monthly financial report. All looks in order and the usual health status of the Shire, so all good.
Councillor Curtis?
I'll support the officer's recommendation,
Thank you.
Mr President.
Councillor Curtis. Councillors, anyone speaking against the officer's recommendation? Councillor Campbell, right of reply. Councillors, if no one is speaking against the officer's recommendation, I'll declare carried without dissent 7-0. Chief Executive Officer section, first item is CEO 01-0825, Work, Health and Safety Statistic Report, August 2025. Councillors, you have an officer's recommendation to receive that report. Can I have a mover for the officer's recommendation, please? Councillor Ross. Seconder, Councillor Angus. Councillor Ross.
Thank you, Mr President. I continue to find this a useful and informative report and an encouraging report. The amount of testing for drugs and alcohol that is done with negative results, I think, is actually a credit to our workforce, as well as to those who oversee the workforce, and that there are no significant injuries that are significant. So happy to receive the report.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. Councillor Angus.
I agree with Councillor Ross, and also add that I'm pleased to see that there's ongoing training happens every month as well. Thank you.
Councillors, anyone speaking against the officer's recommendation?
No.
Anyone wish to speak for? Councillor Ross, you have right of reply.
Nothing, thank you.
Councillors, if no one speaking against the officer's recommendation, I'll declare carried without dissent 7-0. Item 10, reports of committees. First item is COM 01-0825, Local Emergency Management Committee, unconfirmed minutes from Wednesday the 27th of August 2005. Councillors, you have an officer's recommendation to receive these unconfirmed minutes. Can I have a mover for the officer's recommendation? Councillor Hughes. Seconder, please. Councillor Angus. Councillor Hughes.
Thank you, Councillor King. Just to confirm that these are a true and accurate record of that meeting, and also please report that it seems we're well positioned for the upcoming fire season, and also Chittering Police have got a full contingent of officers now, so that is also something that was of concern previously, so all seems well in that area of management.
Thank you, Councillor Hughes. I'm sure I saw them on the road today. Councillor Angus.
Happy to receive them, and just note that it does say unconfirmed at this stage, so happy to receive them.
Thank you, Councillor Angus. Councillors, anyone speaking against the officer's recommendation?
Nope.
Councillor Hughes, you have right of reply.
None required.
Councillors, if no one is speaking against the officer's recommendation, I'll declare carried without dissent 7-0. Item 11, motions of which previous notice has been given. We have one. First item is MWP N01, bit of a mouthful, 0925, Good Sammy's lease by Councillor Curtis. Councillor Curtis is the mover, but I'll read the councillor motion. And the motion reads that council the Good Sammy's Enterprises lease at the Bin, Boon and Mouche waste disposal sites. As I said, Councillor Curtis is the mover. Can I have a seconder for this, please? Councillor Curtis, unfortunately your motion lapses for want of a seconder.
Oh, that's okay. I'll try in 3 months' time.
Thank you, Councillor Curtis. Item 12, questions from members without notice. Are there any questions from members? No questions, we'll move on. Item 13, new business of an urgent nature introduced by decision of the meeting. There are nil. Item 14, meeting closed to the public. There are nil matters. Item 15, closure. I declare the meeting closed at 7:44 p.m.